Alrighty. So I'm going to use cadmium red with a little bit of what I call the magic mixture. The magic mixture is so very important. That is how I make my black. It's also how I make my neutral grays. So with a wet brush, I'm going to bring some of this burnt sienna into here, wash my brush off. I'm going to grab some of the ultramarine blue and I'm going to mix them together. And by doing that, I get some nice neutrals. By adding some water to it, I get some nice grays. For the most part, I'm just going to be using ultramarine blue along with the cadmium red. I'll use the blue for the shadows. It's a complementary color to the red, and so it works beautifully for a colorful shadow. So, I'm going to start with the cad red, bring some out here. I never paint directly from the well. I always bring it out. Make sure it's the color I'm looking for, make sure it's the value I'm looking for. And I'm going to go in fairly dark. We work from light to dark, but using the red color, I'm going to put in the solid, then with water, I'm going to put in, you can see right around here that it's solid, and then I'll just use some water to use light red here, pinkish, in this area here. I'm also going to fill in some areas solid with a medium wash and come back later and lift it so I can show you what lifting does. It really is a beautiful effect. It's very soft and it makes it look almost like airbrush. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the head. So I'll come in like this. Now I'm going to keep it a little lighter. I don't want to have it too dark. There we go, that's better. And on the top of the head, I want to make sure I maintain that lightness up there. So I'm going to bring it down here. I can bring it into the black because it will be black, so it doesn't matter. Oh, I know what I forgot to do. I forgot to do the little spots around the eye. That's okay. I'm just going to draw that. So, alright, now I'll be adding in some cad orange to this also to make it brighter. Right now, just cad red by itself is a fairly dark color and it's not real bright. And it's not matching the color of the reference picture. That's got a little solid in here. Alright, I'm using a number 10 here, a number 10. What's nice is it holds a good amount of paint and it has a wonderful tip on it, which is really handy. So I've got this beautiful shape right in here. Where that comes out here, we have this beautiful darker shape. Let me grab a little darker paint. It's a little darker shape in there, and then it comes in like that. Alright, this is darker in here to make sure. And it's got that little tiny spot right in there too. So that all comes up to there, that comes up to there, and then this comes in to here. I want to keep it loose because it is feathers. Alright, I'm going to go back in with just a wash now, and I'm going to grab and do some feathering like this. It's okay. No one's at the door. All right. So I'm going to continue this down into here. Got the effect of feathers in there. Now I don't want to be real detailed. The whole idea is to suggest feathers. I'm not painting individual, I'm just doing groupings here. I'm not doing little lines like feathers. I'm doing groupings and suggestions of feathers. A little thicker right there. There we go. All right, so I'm just laying down some of the red right now in places. I'm going to grab some water, clear water, and I'm going to go back in between some of these areas. None of them are white, and I'm grabbing that color that I've already laid down before I go any further. So that has a nice feathered look to it, and that's what I'm going for. Alright, I'll come back down here now. My darkest reds, again I need to get some more dark. It's going to be like in here, and here. Now see, I can still see the pencil through here, so I'll know where to put in those shadows of the wing feathers. Keeping these separate. This has a lot of light on the wing here, so I'm going to come in here with the darker. Let's again go a little bit darker. Right along there. There. And then it comes up. It's a little darker in there. Like that. Alright, even though this section is going to be black, it's going to be a dark red black. So I do want to come in like that. So I'm going to grab some water, taking off the excess, and I'm going to just touch the edges here and pull that color in like that. But I want to leave that white, I want to leave that white right there, or actually just very light. There we go. Looking good. And I'm going to go back and glaze on top, although in the body here I may, because it's so dark, put in some of the cad yellow, orange in there. Alright, so I'm going to come in here, the same thing. This part is solid. That is solid. This part is solid. Constantly referring back to the reference picture. This is fairly solid. That's going to be a dark red under there. Carry that up to there. That one's going to be a dark red. So those are going to be my shadows in there. The rest of them are all light. So I'm going to wash off the brush, take excess off, and just touch the edges here. So I'm using the paint that I just laid down. Isn't that nice? Touching the edge, and that gives a beautiful smooth look to it. There we go. So I'm going to keep going now on the lower part of the bird. Yep, I can come in this whole thing here. This whole thing here. Actually, that needs to be lifted a little bit. Somehow I lost part of that. Alright. Alright. This area here has a lot of lighter feathers in there. So I'm going to do that and then come in fairly thick in here. This is going to be the darkest section in here. Now I do want to indicate the feathers here, so I'm going to do just real light stippling. See that? Real light. The nice thing about this brush is it will lay down a nice thick wash of paint. So it will not only do that, it also does thin. So fulfills a lot of tasks. Alright, I'm going to do this along the belly. And this is dark up here. Let's go back in here, then it's starting to lighten. Alright, that's looking good. I want to soften this up, so I'm going to clean the brush. I'm going to hit all the edges like that, and I can smooth those over a little. Now I'm going to show you some lifting techniques after we get finished with this. I'm going to go back in here, make some of that match. Should be all the same. This should be very rich in here. So I'm going to lay down some more solid color. This is all dark in here. Very good. let's see, we have some areas like in here. We want to just give the suggestion. I'm going to keep it soft though. Always soft. Nothing is hard on here. Everything is soft. Need a little dark behind the head here. Right there. And there's this little line. Little line right here. Getting up to the head. There we go. All right. And then now that it's starting to dry, I can just add some very soft suggestions of those little whispers of white in here. All right. We'll go back in and darken this. That needs to be darker. As always, it dries lighter because that's what it does. And these actually need to be dark now. And that can have a little light wash. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to grab a little bit of the cat orange. And the cat orange is going to brighten some of this up. So I'm just going to drop it in to some of this. It's still fairly wet. I'm okay. And usually when you're dealing with small areas, you don't have to worry about the dreaded blossoms. See how much brighter that looks? Just brightens everything up. Okay. All right, that's looking nice. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and do the bill, the beak. So I'm going to go in fairly dark, and I want this to be smooth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline this section here carefully. Let's get a little darker. There we go. I bring this up here, bring it down here, and the rest is going to be done with clear water. Take the excess off. I'm going to drag it right across here. and then with just a little bit here, I'm going to put it right along the top of the beak. Alright, see how soft that is? I want to make sure it stays soft. So this is one of the techniques of removing all excess, and just once wipe along that edge. So what I'm basically doing here is I've got a section, say that's the beak right there. I wash the brush off, remove the excess, and I do half and half across the upper. You can see how it's hard edge here, but now it's very soft right there. So you can do that any place you need to. Just touch it, and that causes it to flow down into the clear water and give a soft effect to it. So I'm going to do that on the bottom now also. I'm going to bring this down here, bring it down here, like that. Be very careful here in my drawing. Bring that up to here. There's that. Now I'm going to wash the brush off. Dry paper towel. Take the excess off, and just once touch that top and leave it. There we are. Alright, while that's drying, I'm going to drop a little bit more orange into some of this up here. Alright, that looks good. Alright, that is kind of sharp, so I'm going to adjust that just a little bit, make it a little more rounder, and then bring this up a little closer, like that. Okay. Alright, now we're going to let it dry, and then come back in. Then I'll show you doing some shadows in it. I can do it when it's still wet. I'll do it real quick. I'm using the ultramarine blue. A little bit of ultramarine blue, like in here, while it's still wet. See how that just makes a darker red? And for the rest of it, I'm going to wait and come back with just the blue on top, and we'll do some colorful shadows.